Yeah, today's class is going to be on an important topic that is of interest to all of us, whether in at home or at the workplace. I think we are a bundle of emotions, we are a bundle of feelings and moods, and definitely that affects the way we behave at home, the way we interact with people around us, and definitely it has an impact on our behavior at the workplace. So this is an interesting topic. I expect you to talk. It's about emotions and moods. It's about us at home and at the workplace and with friends and with people around. So please feel free to talk and share your thoughts and experiences. So the learning objectives for today's class, we want to be able to differentiate between emotions and moods and identify what are the sources for emotions and moods, and also discuss what it takes to be an emotionally intelligent person as an employee and how important it is, because if you are having, you know, stress created by emotional labor, employees don't or stay motivated, their productivity might be affected, and the way they interact with people around them gets affected. So we will discuss about impact of emotional labor on employees, and we'll also talk about the effective events theory. Again, something related to what I said, how emotions and moods have a bearing on our behavior at the workplace. And as I just mentioned, emotional intelligence is the key. I might be individually very smart, I might be extremely skilled, but if I don't have emotional intelligence, if I'm not really self aware, and if I don't know how to carry myself in difficult situations and handle the ups and downs of life, I might, struggle both at home and I might struggle at the workplace. So we'll talk about this very important, you know, capacity of human beings to be emotionally intelligent, and we'll identify strategies for emotional, regulation of emotions, basically, and apply these concepts about emotions and moods to specific org behavior issues. Now, a general definition of emotions and moods is it's a bundle of feelings that make our emotions. So defined as a broad range of feelings, so that people experience because of events, because of people, because of our interactions, maybe of because of physiological, states. We have not slept well. We are stressed out of work. We have had an event in our life which is upsetting. So there could be a lot of things that can create those feelings, and they actually affect our experience of life and of our experience at the workplace. So this component of feelings is called as affect. The effect can be experienced in the form of emotions or moods. So feelings basically are called the effect, and the affect or feelings, create that combination of emotions and moods that we go through every day. The emotions then can be caused by events, as I just mentioned, very brief in duration. You won a prize, you got a certification, you were promoted. I'm sure your emotions are on the high. You're very positive right now. You're happy, you're related, you're excited. You want to share that, success with everybody around you. And that's definitely because of emotions. And specific and numerous in nature, you're not always excited. You're not always happy. Sometimes you're apprehensive, you're upset, you're angry with certain things that have happened around you, and usually accompanied by distinct facial expressions. Some people can hide their emotions very well, and not with everyone. For example, I struggle to hide my emotions. If I'm happy, you can see it on my face. If I feel not happy with the situation, you can see it on my face. Even if I try to lie, you can figure out this professor is basically lying to us. He's not happy. He's just acting as if he's happy, but he isn't. He's upset. He's not doing good. So, sometimes it's not easy to hide those expressions. They are visible on your face. You might turn pink. You might, your eyes communicate a lot. Your facial expressions communicate a lot. Everything changes, because of emotions that you go through. Then action oriented, our emotions drive our behavior. When we are upset, we behave differently. When we are happy, we behave differently. We express differently. So expression of these emotions is what we call behavior. And definitely behavior is influenced by these feelings or emotions. See some chat here. Let me just see what is that about. Okay, that's fine. You can leave and join. Hopefully you can hear me. Then moods. The cause is often general and unclear. Sometimes when you wake up after a long week, you might just feel, very dull and bored because it's been a long week. You're stressed and you're not sure why you don't feel like doing anything. You want to do so many things. You know you have to catch up with a lot of stuff, but it's just like, yeah, I'm not just in a mood to do something. You probably will postpone it because if you try and do it now, when you're not feeling good about doing something, obviously you're not going to be your best. You will not enjoy doing it. The quality will suffer. Maybe it'll take too long for you to accomplish that particular task because your mood is not all right. So, what causes those moods last, longer than emotions? Definitely for hours and days. Sometimes those bad moods can stay for long periods of time. I don't think that's an ideal thing to have in your life. And moods can be more general. They can have the positive, they can get you those positive feelings, and that positive feelings stay for a long time. And sometimes you go through those negative feelings. You don't know why. You can't explain it that easily, but they stay for a long time too. So they are long lasting than emotions, which are very momentary and they're driven by specific events. But moods don't have to be driven by specific events. It's just that you're not in a good mood. That's it. And generally not indicated by distinct expression. You might not even show it. You might just stay alone, stay at home, not want to talk or interact with people. And cognitive in nature, it's something to do with the way you're thinking right now. You just don't want to exert yourself, use your brain for something constructive. You don't want to be, engaged in any social activity. It's more how you feel right now, and then it's been for staying that way for quite some time, and it's pretty cognitive, and you can sense it. You can tell people, I'm not in a good mood, I don't feel like doing something. So you're able to assess it using your cognition, and your brain is able to tell you, oh, you're suffering from a dull mood, you're suffering from a negative mood. So any thoughts about it? I'll be happy to listen to what you think about emotions and moods. I'll ask you this specific question. So how do you deal with moods that are negative, like when you feel dull, you don't want to do something? How do you deal with that?
I usually like to stay quiet because anything you say can be taken the wrong way. So I think it's better to just keep to yourself.
And how do you get out of it?
You say things that are like straightforward, and I guess to do things that take your mind off it, because that's the only thing you can do.
But do you do something specific that helps you come out of a dull mood or a negative mood?
Maybe just like go for a walk.
Okay, sounds great. Yeah. So physical activity, maybe talking to people who care for you, who genuinely love you. There are many ways you can get out of a negative effect
Um,
or a negative mood. Anybody else who has uh,
yeah,
tried other ways of doing things to get out of a bad mood?
Yeah,
music
like I'm sorry, Tristan.
is okay.
Go.
Music often helps. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Great,
was gonna say that.
great idea. Actually, I know several students who cannot even study without music on. I don't know how you guys do that because music for me, once I listen to music, I just can't focus on reading something because I enjoy music to the extent that I think probably it's about generation as well. I belong to an older generation, so multitasking is that much more difficult. So we are pretty sequential in the way we process things and activities. So when I listen to music, I just want to give it 100%. And I don't know how to actually give another 100% to something else simultaneously. But you guys, I think, are good at it. So I would agree music is a great way to keep your mood going and to keep it there in a happy place. Or if you want to get out of a dull, situation. Anybody else who wants to talk about this?
I would say I just let it be. I set it up for like an hour, be angry for maybe an hour, and then just try to get through it. Because I feel like people try to express their feelings a lot, and I don't think it's good for you to just try to be happy all the time. Sometimes
Mhm.
just feeling the bad or negative emotion is good sometimes too, to understand that you have other emotions also.
Like the way you put it, but what do you do in that 1 hour? You don't do anything?
Well, yeah, mostly I just lay there and think.
Wow, this feels very profound. It's great if you don't do anything and let it pass. That means you're just that much more aware of what your mood is, and then you appreciate that you're human and that you go through those ebb and flow of life, and it's fine. And so that acceptance that whatever you go through is not a bad thing necessarily. So I really like the way Trin is saying, just let it be and stay quiet for an hour or so, and then you figure out ways that you're better in charge of your life. You have better control of what's going through you, and you come out of it in a more positive frame of mind, and then you can focus on what you want to do. Great, Trin. It just feels like meditative, when what you said makes me think that you're talking of some form of transcendental meditation. Is that true?
Yeah, I think that what it's called.
Yeah. So I'm happy. I can figure out. I don't see you, but I can figure out what's going on in your head.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah, you're talking to a professor who loves reading minds. So maybe I'm a good guy to teach art behavior because it's so much to do about people and their thought process. Now,
I like to learn.
differentiate between emotions and moods. Broadly classified, we have these universal emotions: anger, fear, sadness, happiness, disgust, and surprise. I don't want to talk about these because all of us know what they are, but can anybody tell me? You can pick anything from 1 to 6 and say, how did you deal with that? Anyone from this class? You can say, okay, I went through this feeling of happiness. And how did it, how do you deal with happiness? And did it help you do something better? Were you feeling a sense of greater compassion, kindness, generosity because of being happy? Did you share more because you were happy? Did you have the sense of gratitude because you were happy? I just picked up 4 and said, when I'm happy, I have this sense of gratitude, and I have this sense of doing more and reaching out to more people. And because of I'm happy, I want others to be happy. So I have this sense of empathy when I'm happy. So and because of all these positive relations that I can find from the emotion of being happy, I generally am happy all the time. I choose to be happy. So it's not that one event makes me happy. It's not one success that makes me happy or money that makes me happy. It's a choice that I make, that I am happy and I can control that, and nobody can hurt my happiness without me permitting them. So I choose to be happy. I explained 4. Can somebody pick? They can choose 4 again, but you want to talk about any of these?
Um, I feel like for fear, me personally, what I do is I find that when I'm fearful of something or I'm scared, I start breathing a little bit more faster. So
Mhm.
when I find that I'm fearful, I just try to like control my breathing. I try to slow down my breathing. Um, I try to like get out of my head, if that makes sense. Like try to stop thinking about why I'm fearful and instead try to think about the situation and how I could like alleviate some of this fear. But really and truthfully, all I do seriously is just control my breathing because I find that that really helps me calm down and not be fearful anymore.
Yeah, that's a very good thing that you point out, Joshua. Like, yeah, breathing, more rhythmically and slowly, and in control of your breath, slowing down things a bit, and knowing that you're in charge and that the fears are smaller than you. I think that's a great way of controlling fears, especially when you don't know and cannot predict when you're going to be in those fearful situations. But another way of doing it is also getting back to think, of events or stuff that have happened in your life that have embedded these feelings of fear, that trigger of fear in different situations. If you can become that much more aware and replace and supplant those feelings and negative impacts that were created in your past, with feelings of adequacy, feelings of love, and being taken care of, and knowing that you're in charge and there's plenty of opportunities out there, and that you trust in your own abilities. And that is where you're removing the triggers of fear, as much as you say that controlling breathing, slowing it down, and relaxing your muscles, drinking some water, all that is really helpful. But I would say invest in yourself, feel the sense of self-worth and skill that you have, and replace those negative feelings that have been created over a period of time. Remember all the great things that you have accomplished, and all the people that love you. I'm sure the fear factor will go down. Like first time, I have this sense of fear, but that fear is a positive thing. The fear helps me prepare better. The fear helps me rehearse something more. The fear helps me go over the motions many times before it actually happens. And that way I'm mentally more prepared. Fear is still there, but the fear is so much under control that I know I'm larger and bigger than the fear, and I'm more stronger than that fear that might still be there at some corner. And then I'm free after that. I'm free of that sense of fear once I start doing it. Someone else
I
wants
agree.
to talk?
So to comment on that, I would like to say that I think someone else might have said this before, but I'll say it is that courage itself isn't, blindly going into something scary without fearing anything. It's being scared off your pants basically and going in anyway,
Yeah,
facing your fear and going and doing something and being smart about it.
I
But
would agree. I would agree
yeah,
because the more informed you are and the more prepared you are, the more skilled you are, I think gets you more prepared, and you would love to experiment. And if you fear, you're not going to try out something new, and you will not take that path which has been not taken before. So for you to explore and find yourself, you need to go that path which is unique to you. So if you're just going to follow me, you will end up being a poor replica of me. But if you chart out your own path for yourself, and which nobody, it's pretty unique to you, I'm sure you'll enjoy that, right? So that uncertainty is something that you will embrace rather than be afraid of. So I would agree with that. Yeah. Anybody else who wants to speak?
I could speak on anger.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, I remind myself when I'm not acting rational out of anger. Usually, once I start thinking clearly after that, I regret the decisions that I might have made. So I just constantly remind myself of that feeling of regret, just to, keep that in check, to make sure I don't get angry in any kind of way.
And I think you've done remarkably well because I met you at least once in the Manhattan campus, and you didn't come across anybody who has anger issues at all. You look so calm and composed. So I think what you're saying has really worked for you. You look the most calm person, the most, mature individual that, you can come across. And that means you have done a great job. That you're aware and you're not going to do something like crazy, and you have control of all your emotions. And that's pretty much when you know how to deal with these emotions, and you can regulate your behavior, and you can come out, and from negative emotions you can come out to being positive. And that's what is emotional intelligence. I think all of you are emotionally intelligent. So there are moral emotions that we might have, emotions that have moral implications because of our instant judgment of the situation that evokes them. Our responses to moral emotions differ from our responses to other emotions. You know, Again, it depends on morals are what we are taught when we were kids, and the environments that we grew in, the societies we actually grew in. So in countries like India, for example, we are not governed by so much of legislation. The society is still not regulated to the extent it's regulated in Europe or in the US. We would do things which are spontaneous, which might never put us in trouble. I mean, if you did the same thing in the US, maybe there is a law which will tell you you were not supposed to do this. There was a better way of doing things. There were experts who would have told you what to do, but not in India. So morals drive a lot of emotions in India. I mean, both positive emotions and negative emotions. So I don't know how to explain that, but if anybody wants to talk about it, how morals that we are taught as young kids, how do they drive our emotions?
I would say that the way we're able to learn about something and experience something for the first time kind of creates a reaction that we might do over and over again in the future.
Right, we learn it over a period of time, and then we kind of think this is the right thing to do, right? Yeah, I agree. The conditioning that happens over a period of time. So the structure of, the differentiation between emotions and moods, how do we structure it? This is what it looks like when you're on the highly negative affect side. You're being upset, stressed, nervous, and tense is the highly negative side of the affect or the feeling side. And if you go highly positive, you're alert, excited, elated, happy, content. I mean, those are, that continuum is very high and it's strong on the feeling side. And then you can have low kind of feelings, low affect, either positive or negative. If you look at the low positive effect, sad, depressed, bored, and fatigued, and the low negative effect is calm, relaxed, serene, and content. So in this continuum, if I were to ask you to pick up words that generally determine who you are over a period of 1 week, say, for example, I'm not saying every week is going to be just the same, but if I want you to pick up at least 3 or 4 words which define your general state of mind over a period of 1 week, what would be the best choice of words that you will pick? Anyone?
Can you rephrase that questions for me?
I want you to pick up 2 or 3 or 4 words that define your emotions and moods in a particular week. A general week, not a specific week. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I would say mostly I feel content,
Mhm.
but I do feel stressed most of the time too because of the things I have to do, but I try not to. But yes, so content, stress, sometimes fatigue from the sittings. Yeah, I feel like that's my 3 main thing.
Don't you feel alert?
For what reason, Professor?
Don't you feel alert? I'm putting it here. I don't want to use the word excited. Not always we have situations where we might be excited, but you feel alert. Like, this is a great idea. Oh, I have a nice thing to contribute here. Oh, I can put the dots together and I can analyze it. I know there is a smarter way of doing things. Do you feel that?
Yes.
So I think that also should be part of your description. You can be content, you can sometimes feel stressed and fatigued, I understand. I'm just thinking, why not here? Because this quadrant, you should also have some emotion here. That's what I'm thinking. Anybody else wants to take a shot on this?
I would say that I feel calm. I would say alert as well. To new ways that I could figure something out.
Mhm,
Me personally, I feel I'm very relaxed. I feel like I'm a very relaxed person,
mhm.
and I guess sometimes I could say um, maybe bored. Sometimes, not all the time.
Okay, sounds good. What about you, Chris? You want to have a go?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, usually I feel kind of alert like I do now.
Hmm.
Toward the end of the day, my last class is ending at 11:15 tonight, so I'll definitely feel fatigued by then.
Hmm.
And I guess I could say once in a while I kind of feel excited because although life, well, for everybody is kind of dull these days, I've got a lot of projects and a lot of people I'm working with that kind of motivate me.
Okay, because you guys use fatigued and then you've used the word excited, I want to ask you a question. When you say fatigued, do you refer to fatigue as a physical fatigue or mental fatigue?
I kind of use it as both. You know, like on a day like today, when I'm just in classes, mainly, I would say it's a mental fatigue. But other days of the week, I could be working, you know, getting to work very early in the morning. Maybe sometimes I have to stay late, and you know, it very much could be a physical fatigue. So
So I
yeah.
think you know how to overcome physical fatigue. You sleep better, you exercise better, you eat nutritious food and stuff like that. But I'll ask you, how do you overcome mental fatigue?
With mental fatigue, you have to, just like you exercise and rest your body, you have to exercise and rest your mind as well. Well, you know, reading a book and getting your mind off a topic isn't a bad start. Meditation, I gotten into that and it helps. And you have to also mitigate your screen time a little bit, you know, for later at night, so I don't get pulled onto the screen as much and thus lose sleep. I actually have this app I set up which dims the screen a little red so the blue light doesn't get into my eyes and like keep me awake as much, which helps a little bit too.
Yeah, continuing that question on fatigue, I'm just like, I want to make this class as interactive as possible. I want to ask this question not just to Chris, to everyone. Can you work and relax at the same time? Can you work nonstop and still feel relaxed at the same time?
No.
No.
Working hard or hardly working?
I
Yeah.
feel like
I think you can.
yes, I feel like you can if you actually working for something that you feel intrigued or excited about.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
I could teach from morning till night and night till morning and not feel fatigued.
I
I'm
feel like that
like,
too. I
Yeah,
feel like
I mean,
you can. I feel like you can. Definitely, if you enjoy what you do, you
exactly.
definitely can work
yes.
all day and
Yeah.
not feel that mental fatigue.
Yeah, I have an example with that. Like I work with music. I have a recording studio and I work as an audio engineer and producer on that studio. So when because I work like sometimes I work in construction too, and that like fatigue you a lot. Not only physically but mentally, because it's a lot of like counts that you had to do, a lot of calculations you had to do to make something work. But like
Right.
when I'm working with music, it's pretty much what my ears feel like doing. So
Right.
it's something like that I relax and I'm still working like nonstop. I'm looking at the screen and all that. And like had this thing about the blue screen that Chris talked about. But either way, like because I'm working with something that I like and I can sometimes even like close my eyes and just listen to the thing and make it work, it's something that like I can do it all day, and in the end of the day I won't be like tired with it because music is something that, like it or not, like it kind of relax you either way. So it's something like working with that is the same way as working with something relaxing pretty much, so like I can work it all day with it.
While your example is perfect and it's the easiest one for everyone to understand, what I want to drive home is whatever you choose to do it with that sense of enjoyment and dedication that you feel meditative as you work. And then you will find that you have not even worked on a single day of your life. For the last 25 years, I'm thinking I'm on an extended vacation. I can easily call myself unemployed. I do something that is effortless to me. I enjoy every bit of it. My time with students and in the class is a meditation for me. That's the best time of my life, that I can think of. There's nothing that can take away from this experience of having to listen to students and learn from them and share whatever little I know. I think that's the most beautiful experience. You're talking to young minds, you're talking to the future of the world. These are our torch bearers. And if you can influence, inspire them, or add value to their education or to their careers and be part of their success story, there's nothing like that. And once you begin to understand, what a noble profession that you're involved with, like mine, for example, you just have this sense of respect for your students. You have a reverence for who they are. And you are filled with these emotions of gratitude, and you reach out to them and you want them to succeed as if they are family. And once you have this feeling, trust me, guys, you will never ever feel fatigued. There's no way. See, physical fatigue, I go through it. Or if you're hit by fever, I took a COVID vaccine shot, chills and fever and pains. Physical fatigue will hit you. And as you age, maybe the number of times and the duration of fatigue will increase perhaps. But the mental fatigue, you might be 70 or 80. If you're used your brain properly and if you're in control of your, cognitive capacities, you will never feel fatigued. It'll just get sharper. It'll work better for you, and it'll never work against you because you know how to use this cutting tool really well. Your intellect is a cutting tool. Don't use it for the wrong purposes. If you know how to use your intellect for the right things, whether it's for you or for the betterment of humanity, if you know you're using it for the right things, that means you are in charge. The tool should not control you. You control the tool. Your mind and the intellect is a tool that you are in charge. As long as you're in charge, there's no question of mental fatigue. But you just lose control, the tool takes control over you, all kinds of fatigue, all kinds of stress, all kinds of nervousness and tenseness. You got me? So I can go on and speak because I come from a Eastern mysticism that I'm embedded into. Chris said he was gone into meditation. For me, meditation is my class. I don't have to close myself, up in a room and shut my thoughts over to feel meditative. That's the beauty. So whatever you do it with that sense of dedication, that sense of reverence. I'm not even using the word respect. It should be reverence for what you do. And then you will find fatigue will never hit you. And you can stay excited not doing anything. Sometimes you associate a feeling of excitement only if you did something. You can feel that state of excitement just sitting alone, not doing anything. You're alive. Why shouldn't you be excited that you're still breathing? You got me? That level of awareness that you're connected to every person, everything in this world is an exciting thing. Everything that happens to you, every little thing that you observe and sense and feel through your five sensory organs should keep you excited. Life is exciting. How else should life be? We are not supposed to make life boring. We are not supposed to, we can try to make it boring. We succeed in making it boring. We succeed in making it sad, unfortunately. But you have to try just to keep it there. And that's what Trin was talking. Just let it be. Let it be, let it remain always exciting. Whether you're doing a work, whether you're accomplishing something, or whether you're just sitting at home doing nothing, you still are excited. You can hold that feeling for a long, long time. And that's the beauty if you can control your brain and your mind and your intellect, okay? Yeah, when you have time, guys, you can actually connect with me on Zoom and we can talk about it forever. I can share all my personal experience. They're very personal and I don't mind sharing it, but I can't do it in class and because it takes away class time. So we'll just move ahead. There is another thing that makes emotions and moods even more complex and even more interesting is the impact of culture. If you look at percentage of people who reported experiencing emotions on a daily basis, I don't know who did this study. Most emotional societies are supposed to be the Philippines and United States and United Kingdom, Taiwan. I'm happy to see India there, Russia and Singapore. So it seems these are the countries and people, societies that are experiencing high levels of emotion. I don't know if that's true. It's a Gallup study done in 2012. Things must have changed from then, but culture definitely has an impact on the kind of emotions that you go through. My colleagues keep asking me in New York, how come you're always smiling? How come you're not upset? I'm like, why am I supposed to be upset? Why shouldn't I be smiling? Like, you have to tell me reasons. I don't see a reason why I should be upset. I don't see a reason why I should not be smiling. So to me, whatever be the situation, I mean, they might be asking you tough questions. See, I'm the director of accreditation maintenance. I have been asked very tough questions. If I say something wrong, I could be held responsible for it. I could take the whole school down, but I choose to stay calm because when you're calm, you're the best. And trust me, it's not about the accreditation. It's not just about XYZ, or it's not about a particular day. It's about who you are. So if you're very, confident about yourself, you have this sense of self-assuredness, and you know the outcome is going to be good, and you've done all the hard work to leading up to that particular important day or task, you know for sure that these things will be in place and you will succeed. You don't have to worry about it. So differentiate between emotions and moods, which is continuing that thinking and feeling. And obviously we are going to be dominated by thinking. We want to look at data. We want to study reports. We want to take feedback and take decisions. But strangely, if you look at meetings, if you see the conversations in meetings, we're driven by feelings. We suddenly forget that we can have a process. We need to look at the policies. We need to create a structure, and we suddenly are driven by feelings. I've seen this happen with the most experienced people. I'm talking about faculty meetings. We think, oh, we should do it everything professionally, and we should be fair, we should be just, and we should follow guidelines. And no, suddenly, the meeting turns driven by feelings. We become emotionally charged, we blame each other, we want some scapegoat to be, dismissed. We suddenly become driven by feelings. Have you experienced that?
Yeah, I guess everyone does at one point or another, that you feel something and you make a decision based off of it. It could be a negative thing where you act in anger, of course, or it could be a positive thing where you just get this sense of motivation or excitement, and you, let's say, work towards a goal that you've had.
Now I'll ask you this question because you point that out. This question is not just for Chris, again, for the whole class. How do you make a balance between your feelings? Because human beings have feelings. We cannot just discount it. And we are supposed to have those feelings, and we are smart people, we think. So how do you make a trade-off or a balance, and what do you do to make your decision making that much more effective? Anyone can take this question. So what do you do?
I don't know, like there is the ultimate answer to this, but I am practicing distinguish the feelings and the thought, so that the decision making can gain most positive outcome for the future or the people around me as best as it can. But I do know, like I do have an aware of that, like every decisions will come with its own type of risk. So just want to minimize the risk as low as possible.
Yeah, I can help you. I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to give you the perfect answer either, but I'll tell you what you can do, and not easy to follow. Simple things are difficult to follow, okay? What you got to do is use language that increases positive feelings, but you can still stick to guidelines, procedures, and structures. Use language. How do we actually determine our feelings in a meeting? The language that we use. The moment I say, Chris has put us in this spot of bother, it is all because of Chris, it's over, right? The moment I can say, yeah, Chris tried his best, but you had circumstances, you had exogenous, variation in whatever the environmental factors were there. And we appreciate his effort, and we understand it wasn't easy, but can we do something better? Can we help him out? Or can we help our team do this better? Can we mobilize some kind of support? See, I've changed the mood. Instead of simply saying it's Chris and Chris alone, and he's got us into this mess, I've moved into the fact that, there are things that are way beyond Chris. He was limited in the access to information, resources, and the pandemic and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then we say, we want to help. Just that empowering language is actually increasing the positive feelings, but we want to do it in a structured way. It's not just because we like Chris, we want to be helping. It's because we are really, truly concerned about our team, our company, and accomplishment of its goals. We want to create a structure. Even if Chris leaves, someone else comes in here, they benefit from that structure. They benefit from the policy. They benefit from the team collaboration. So do you understand? Language is the key. Guys, you're all young, and then when you start participating in meetings, Please say what you want. Do not stop yourself from saying it, but say it using positive language. Even criticism should not be personalized. Even criticism can be constructive. Feedback should be descriptive, not evaluative. I cannot say you're bad. I mean, as if I'm perfect. I have to tell you, these are areas where you could improve. If I'm simply going to say you're bad, oh, you can tell me how many things I'm bad at. I'm more bad than you. Simple as that. We become defensive and we are not open to new ways of doing things. We are never going to achieve anything. So it's the kind of language that you use. Just be very mindful, and you put culture in there and you begin to realize certain things are okay in the US if you use those kind of words. Maybe some words are not acceptable in certain cultures. So you got to be very cautious, especially if you're working in an environment which has diversity. So language, I think, is the key, which drives our feeling. We don't come to a meeting with, a particular emotion, but our emotions develop over a period of time. 10 minutes into the meeting, our emotions have changed. 20 minutes into the meeting, they get stronger. And 35 minutes into the meeting, we stop thinking. You got it? We are on each other's throats and we achieve nothing out of the meeting. So you got to be very cautious of how, especially if you're a leader, you got to, temper the tone, moderate the language, direct all members to use positive, empowering language. We want to achieve something. Let's discuss issues that can be resolved in a constructive way. Let there be a win-win situation for everyone. Let us realize the effect of synergy. Does that make sense? Okay, do emotions make us ethical? I mean, let this be a question instead of me reading out from the slide.
I don't think emotions on their own have rationality in them. I mean, maybe they could influence the way our mind actually thinks about rationality. But to put it in a Freudian context, emotions are kind of like in the id, like in the instinct.
Yeah, I
The
know the ego and superego.
yeah,
Yeah,
where there's or basically for people that don't know, there would be the ego which says, yeah, I could do this, sure. And then the super ego which says whether or not it's right.
right.
So I feel like it's just in a separate part of the personality.
Yeah, I'm happy you bring this particular concept of Freudian psychology and the concept of id, ego, and superego, and the alter ego. That's what they call it as, right? Yeah. So that's a very good thing that you bring up. And yeah, true, because id is that the feelings and the emotions and the strong, intense feelings. But then there is the ego, which is more rational and it takes into consideration the cognitive elements. And the superego is telling you, is this really the right thing to do in the moral context or in the context of societies? Yeah, just that's a great way of approaching it. Thank you, Chris. Now, identify the sources of emotions. Personality definitely has an impact, right? There are people whom you see and you know they are calm from the exterior itself. You don't have to talk to them. They have a calming influence. Anybody here in this class who have had this calming influence on your colleagues? You just have to be there and you create the sense of being assured and positivity and create that sense of vibes which are extremely calm. Do you do that? I mean, do you carry those personalities?
I feel like yes from my teammates, but
Hmm.
I don't know.
Okay,
I
good.
mean, yeah, I mean, like I'm just being myself, or I feel like a lot of people just being themselves, and they just carrying that vibe around them.
Right. Kiara, you wanted to say something?
No, yeah, just like she said, I feel the same.
Yeah, I think we should have that presence. I'll just put this word as presence. Guys, you got to develop the presence by who you are, not by what you've achieved in life or not the credentials that you've got, not by, stuff that you've done. It's by who you are. And if you're an honest person, you sincerely think about the betterment of human beings around you, you carry that presence. And the stronger your presence, trust me, it'll change even the most negative situations into a positive situation. That's easily possible. So invest in yourself, not just in the credentialing part of it, but on the spiritual part of it. If you do that, your personality changes. And we're born with certain personalities, but we also learn to be better personalities. We can also alter the personality types that we are over a period of time. Time of day, I don't know if it does make, I'm a morning person. Is there anybody who is a morning person here? Oh my God,
Yeah,
that silence
it's me,
makes me
Professor.
scared.
Yeah, I guess kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not me.
Sometimes.
I know this generation is all nocturnal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a morning person.
Depends on the day.
Yeah.
But I'm happy at least a couple of people are there who are of my type. Even if you wake up
Usually,
at one more
usually I
person.
work. Sorry, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying. Usually, I do homework in the afternoon, and I work because like I said, I work with music. I work like from 2 a.m. to 4 around there. I go to sleep at 5. I wake up at like 11. Usually, it's like that for me.
Yeah, I know, I understand, but yeah, it's surprising. So maybe the time of the day controls our moods and emotions. It can happen. Day of the week, do you have, are you happier towards the weekend?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Professor, I do.
Yeah, please
Oh,
go ahead.
sorry.
Now,
I have these observations toward my friends because right now I'm living alone, but I see that a lot of people who have like a big family, they tend to be like a night owl because those are the time they can be alone. And I think that humans need to have time alone, but you are in a like a place that you cannot be alone. It's really tough to be like a morning person.
don't you feel already alone in the US?
Like right now, I'm feeling okay. I like my time alone,
I'll
actually.
I'll give you my experience of first time coming to the US and then driving all the way from New York to Boston. I found, empty spaces, vast expanses without people, big homes and large spaces around each home and everything dark. And I'm like, this feels depressing. You know, yeah, when you don't see people, when you don't see neighbors, when you don't have a chance to interact, and you're having a busy week where even if you see people, you don't have time to smile, it can get to you, right? So I come from a culture which is very different. If I walk in the street, everybody knows me. I can shop without a credit card, nor with money. I can shop without anything in my pocket, not even my wallet. Everybody knows me. I can buy gifts, I can buy gold, I can buy grocery just because they see my face. Can you believe that? I can go pay the 2 days later. I can pay it the next week. And
That's
that's the strange part.
good.
That's the amount of connect. So
It
when
was
I
Yeah.
like
see
that here
people not
too.
interacting, it just makes me scared. Yeah, you're saying something?
Yeah, no, it is like that too. Like over here in Brazil, like at least on my city, because it's a small city, so everybody knows everybody. So if I go in the shop something, and I don't have any money with me, I'll just say, "Oh, can I come back here like in 2 days and just pay it?" They're like, "All right, I'm gonna just make a note with you." Like it's not that big deal.
So it's
Mhm.
about you actually. I mean, they might not do the same thing to everyone, right?
Yes, 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 yes. It's
Yeah.
just
So
because they know me and know my family and all that.
and yeah, they
Yeah.
trust you and
Well,
they know how good you are, and then it's your personality, it's your presence. So
mhm.
obviously, moods, emotions, being emotionally intelligent is a key in social life and at the workplace.
I do understand your point, Professor. I just want to add to it. Like, I love interaction with people, but I kind of say that I need the time to recharge. That should be the word.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get you. You're that
Mm-hmm.
intense person who needs time alone, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But what if you were in a country like India? You're always surrounded by people. What do you do, Trin? You'll
Oh,
you'll
well, I came from the same culture as, like Asian people are very on top of each other and they are very and I mean I love the fact that people are care about each other too.
Mhm,
I do feel happy when I'm in my country.
mhm.
Um but there is a certain point that you have to break as social standard and everybody else, and it's tough if you have all the noise to tell you what to do, and even though they don't do it themselves, it just, you know, it like you like to connect to people, but there's an extent for you to understand that like they are not your whole life, they're just pieces of your life, and then
Yeah.
you have to have connection with yourself too.
Yeah, I'll tell you two things uh, in continuation with what you're saying. As a child, I grew up thinking that your hands must be in the society and your head must be in the forest.
Yeah,
So I can stay in middle of a crowd and still feel very peaceful.
I see.
Yeah. So I that's something that you can train yourself, that you can. And by the way, if there are people are all kinds of people, it actually fascinates me. Suppose they're telling things that I find weird. I don't get upset. I get fascinated. Suppose your generation of people are doing something that I cannot do. I'm like, I'm not getting upset with your generation. I'm like, wow, the stuff that I cannot do. How nice. I
Yeah, I
admire and
think
adore you guys. So I'm
yeah,
not
I think
upset.
we are very acceptance.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how you should be. And then you will not find anybody, who's going to upset you. You don't take an exception to what they're saying. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't affect you negatively. You're like, wow, this is fascinating. So every time I see your, Insta pictures or your TikTok videos or your, social media content, I'm like, wow, how amazing is this generation of people? How incapable am I? It just fascinates me. It makes me adore you guys. I don't know. This is how I am. So I'm just telling you about a little bit about myself because I have an answer for everything that you're saying, and it actually helps. So we can continue this discussion as much as we want to.
Mhm.
Sleep, it affects our mood. If you have slept little, too little, definitely, you don't just carry the same energy. I would agree. Exercise, it's proven that exercise can get you to improve your mood, blood circulation, as other students were saying in this class, breathing, everything becomes rhythmic. So obviously you feel much better about. And physical health, I would agree. I've seen people who have, yeah, I had a student in Abu Dhabi campus who gave me a very, very hard time in my management 102 class. Normally in the class, I never raise my voice. I'm very calm and composed. But when I'm upset, I'm not screaming on them and I'm not like, using bad language. What I do is talk a little bit louder. My voice becomes a little bit louder. That's my way of expressing that you're not focusing enough, you're distracting me, you're upsetting me. At the max, I can do that. I don't know how to shout at people. I don't know. I'm just incapable of, showing my anger in a bad way. So, my one of my colleague actually told me, "What happened to you? We could hear your voice outside today. Were you upset?" Imagine my colleagues listening to my voice outside. They knew that Prabhakar was upset. I'm like, "Yeah, I was upset. How do you know?" Like, we could hear your voice from outside. And I called this girl to my office. We just talked to her for a while, and honestly, I just made a request. Can it be possible that you don't distract me as much? If you don't come to the class, I don't mind giving you attendance, but I really like what I do, so I just want to make it. I was the assistant dean, and I was making an honest request to her. Would you believe she was getting all C's and C plus and C minuses in her grades? I don't know what hit her. She started doing better. She started getting B's and B pluses, not just in my course, but across all courses. So I had to call her and tell her, I don't know what you did, Sophia, but you just did an amazing turnaround. Every faculty is saying we see Sophia is improving her performance. She was terrible in the first semester or second semester. Now she's way much better. I took time off to call her and appreciate what she was doing. Can you believe? And I told Sophia, you might want to work on your physical fitness as well, because you're doing good in education and academics. Work on your physical fitness. You will start acing everything. Would you believe it? She ended up with her final semesters with all A's across quant courses, the difficult courses as well. And if I see her TikTok videos, they're all about fitness these days. And she tells me, Dr. Prabhakar, you've just changed my life. You made me focus on academics. You made me focus on, my physical fitness. You made me feel good about myself. And thank you for trusting and having that faith in me. From a point where she was annoying me, I was raising my voice, to the point where she's like, she has the gratitude. We're still in touch. We're like buddies. She doesn't treat me anymore like a professor. She sends me all those emojis and all that stuff that your generation does. We're like buddies, basically. So, that's the beauty of doing my job. If you're a faculty and if you connect with students, it's a blessing from God. Yeah, older people experience fewer negative emotions. I had very few negative emotions when I was very young. So I don't know if this research is really true. But to be honest, as a kid, I grew up in the best schools. I owe it to my teachers. They taught me how to be emotionally strong. We're very, very accommodating. We were very sympathetic. We had compassion. We were taught how to give and enjoy giving more than enjoy just receiving. And we were even taught that forgiving takes a lot of strength, and revenge is not a form of, thing that makes us happy. Forgiveness is the biggest revenge that you can take on any people, and it transforms people. And being loving gives them an opportunity to transform. So we were taught all these wonderful things by practice. These teachers were role models for us. So at a very young age, I don't even remember having, any regret or revenge or hatred to anybody. And yeah, thanks to my teachers, because they taught me these things at a very young age. Gender does, I mean, this may be true. Women tend to be more emotionally expressive, feel emotions more intensely, have longer, lasting emotions and feelings and than men. Maybe this is true. If there is somebody who agrees, please let me know. If you don't, tell me why you don't agree with this. Emotional labor is an expression of organizational desired emotions during interpersonal transactions. Look at all the people who actually are at the reception, at the customer desk, who are answering phone calls, and who are part of the customer relationship management, the CRM activities that organizations do. Those people have to be always smiling. They have to be always courteous. They should not feel upset. They should not show negative expressions or emotions. That's a lot of emotional labor, right? Have you ever wondered, those who work on this customer relations department, and then those who are actually interacting with customers from morning till evening, and those who are at the front desk answering calls, answering phone calls, taking the same questions again and again, and having to explain the same thing again and again? You're not going to have all smart people ask you smart questions. You'll have people who will ask silly questions, and they'll repeatedly ask the same question. So how do you deal with that? What would you do?
Yeah, I kind of experienced this working at the state park, where I've had experiences in my park, Sunken Meadow, where on a 4th of July, there's 80,000 people in the park, and I have to solely direct the traffic for all 80,000 of them.
Wow.
So I basically have to deal with the people, answer questions, and I have to, from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., put on a positive emotion so that way the whole crowd has a good vibe to it.
Wow.
Because you could really tell the crowd gets a bad vibe when you have a bad vibe. So I kind of have to do some of this stuff in
Wow.
order to kind of make it better. And well, it's not easy, but it's uh it's definitely something that you'll notice has an effect on everybody.
So what kind of effect does it have on you at the end of the day?
So on me, I guess at the end of the day, I kind of take a step back and feel what I really was feeling. And perhaps I could kind of just I mean, sure, I'm a man, but I could say this, just let my hair down and kind of let it more loose, because perhaps, let's say I go to work and the night before I had a disagreement with my family, or I did poorly on a quiz or something, and I just feel poorly. I feel like I would really feel that before and after work, where while I'm
I-
actually working, I
Mhm.
kind of have to put that aside for a bit, which
Yeah.
my coworkers find difficult.
That's a lot. I think it must have changed you from within and made you stronger as a person. And it's a lot of emotional labor. And if you're coming away positive from that, it speaks about who you are. And I can share something similar. In India, when I was a kid, maybe in grade 11, 12, high school, we used to have events where we were feeding 1 million people free lunches. And when I say free lunch, you can imagine poverty is huge in India. And then 1 million people coming in, and the free lunches there. Just the fact that you're part of that organizing, and then that team which is organizing the whole thing, it's just incredible. It's too overwhelming. You cannot even fathom the kind of emotional labor that you go through. But the same experience is very humbling, because you understand how fortunate you are, and look at the 1 million people who are extremely poor. They have not eaten well for days together. It's 1 million people, literally. I'm not exaggerating the number. It's 1 million people, literally. So there is a stadium where we organize this event just to get them to sit in an orderly fashion, and to make sure that the food reaches everyone, they have enough of food served on to them. That itself is a lot. I'm just like a small little speck of dust in that whole process. And that's very humbling. And the fact that you're giving, and then the expression that they have, they're eating some good food after I don't know how many days, it just fills you with gratitude, and it fills you with you can literally see the form of God in whichever form that you want to, over a distant window, saying that there is kindness out there, that he's taking care of all of us. If you want to see God in that way, you can literally see that happen right in front of you, because you're doing service to humanity. We tend to say we love people, but we cannot stand humanity. So the fact that you reached out to 80,000 people and created the positive vibe is that you truly love people. And that's why you can withstand and stand up to humanity. So it's not easy. I agree. And how you can react to that: surface acting, you can hide your inner feelings; deeper acting, try to modify your true inner feelings based on display rules. So I don't know what was being followed. I'm sure it's not surface acting. You're not trying to hide your inner feelings, because you were honest and you really wanted to create the positive vibe. And there is this theory, affected events theory. Employees react emotionally to things that happen to them at the workplace, and this influences job performance and satisfaction. And work events trigger positive or negative emotions, to which employees' personalities and moods predispose them to respond with greater or lesser intensity. So, in this case, if Chris is able to think about whatever is happening while he's talking to 80,000 people, if it's triggering positive emotions, then he's going to have greater intensity. He's not just going to let that intensity go down. Though it's very physically demanding, and it might be psychologically demanding as well, but his intensity levels don't drop, because these events of meeting and talking to 80,000 people, it's triggering a positive emotional reaction in him. So that's what is the affective events theory. AET, the affective events theory, it offers two messages. Emotions provide valuable insights into how workplace hassles and uplifting events influence employee performance and satisfaction. You want to hire people who are emotionally intelligent, not just who have the ability, the skills, and the technical competence, but you want to hire people who have that emotional intelligence. So obviously, sometimes you might take time, do the technical interview where you're testing technical skills and certifications and credentials. Do another in-depth interview, give situations of how to see how these people might react in a specific situation. Look at their emotional balance, and then take a decision of hiring people. Emotions and the events that cause them should not be ignored at work, because they accumulate. So, sometimes if you're not giving opportunities for employees to express their emotions and feelings, it can lead to, say, displaced aggression. And they might suffer from depression, excessive stress. It might create physical problems. So you got to give opportunities for employees to ventilate their emotions. Get it across as quickly as possible, so that it doesn't accumulate. It doesn't start hurting and affecting your behavior. So that's the key. As a manager, it's not just about managing your emotions, but being cognizant to your employees, to your team members' emotions. Give them opportunities to ventilate their emotions as quickly as they can. So obviously you should take these emotions pretty seriously as a manager, as a team player. That's what I was talking about: emotional intelligence. Perceive emotions in yourself and in others, understand the meaning of these emotions, and control that, monitor that accordingly in a cascading model. Should we stop here? I think we will, and we can continue next class. I'll take some questions and